Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for Creating a Buzz, Getting Faculty and Students Excited About Library Resources. My name is Etta Verma, and I'm the Customer Success Manager at Credo. Before we begin the presentation, there are a few housekeeping items I'd like to go through with you. If you can hear me, please use the raise hand option on your control panel, so we know you're here. Thank you. There will be a recording of today's webinar shared after the presentation. Today we'll be conducting a few polls during the webinar, and when you're prompted, please choose the best option you see on your screen. If you have a question during the webinar, please use the questions portion of your control panel to submit them, and we'll answer all the questions we have time for during the Q&A portion at the end of the hour. Today we're welcoming Brandy Burbante, Research and Instruction Librarian and Outreach Coordinator at Nicholls State University in Louisiana. She's going to discuss how she gets faculty and students to be heavy users of the resources at her library. And I know that seems like a tall order, but I spoke to Brandy recently about all this on the phone, and she really has some great tips. So with that, it's all yours, Brandy. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Hello, welcome everyone. Speaking to you from Thibodaux, Louisiana. First, thanks for that introduction. Just a little bit more about myself, just to kind of give a little background here. And you may all have a question like I did. Why me? Why am I giving this webinar? I have been having some good success with getting involvement from faculty and some good collaboration, and really pushing to up our usage of our library resources, especially our Credo Instruct product, which that's what I'm going to go into more detail later. I originally got my bachelor's degree in English education with plans to be a high school English teacher. However, you see, that is not my career. I feel like I'm in my third career, but that's okay. I think I'm in my final career. I realized very quickly that a regular classroom, K through 12 classroom, was not what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. And I found myself interested in libraries. Got lucky with a staff job here at Nicholls in our cataloging department, and decided to pursue my master's in library science with the intention of becoming a technical services librarian, thinking that I did not want to be on the public side. However, after getting my master's degree and not having a librarian position to apply for, I found myself interested in a job in our freshman advising center on campus. So I applied for that, and I became an academic advisor for our freshmen, which also included instruction of our university prep class, which is our freshman seminar class. So I did that for a couple years until a library position did open here at Ellender Memorial Library. So I found my way back to the library. And I think my positions as a teacher is what I've been tapping into, that experience to kind of relate to our faculty. So when I got here in the library, I had some goals set, and one of them was to definitely get more involved with our freshman seminar class, which when I was teaching there, we didn't really have, the library involvement got pulled out of that class, and I'll speak more on that later. Some other goals is that I wanted to definitely get involved with our orientations for freshman students. The library was not really involved in that I got to see while I was a freshman advisor. And being that my master's degree, I completed that completely online, I would definitely wanted to make sure that our library was doing everything they could to reach out to our distance education students. So those were some of my main goals. And with this job also came the title of Outreach Coordinator. And so I've been using that as a way to kind of preach the library, so to speak. Any chance I get, I like to talk about what the library has and what the library can do for our campus. So these are just some numbers, a little bit about us in case you're not familiar with South Louisiana. We're actually a little bit more south than New Orleans, if you're familiar with that. There's some stats with our student population, and our campus mostly is known as a commuter campus, and we do have a large population of first-generation students. I myself, first-generation student without a lot of support outside of campus, and so I like to use my experience there to kind of put the library out there for those students also. We also have Nicholls Online, which is a way that students can get degrees completely online, like the whole degree is online, all the classes are online. In addition to that, we have a growing number of traditional courses that are now also offered online. So even students, you know, who are here getting their degrees in face-to-face classes, they now have even more options to take some of those classes online. And then we also have hybrid courses where they meet sometimes face-to-face and then also online. So I really wanted to make sure that we are not missing out on those students, because so much is now online and not every instructor is going to be giving a library day, and that's in our face-to-face classes. So I can just imagine that our online students, and maybe even some of our online and adjunct faculty, are not aware of what we have to offer. And so I made that sort of a mission of mine. And then here at the library, we have 4 librarians, and we're all brand new. We all started last year. I just became a librarian here February 2018. And so our other librarians are also new. So we are taking this as our opportunity to really revamp the library's mission and how we get out there on campus, and how are we bringing the students and faculty to us. So today, I'm going to kind of touch on some of these things and share some of my experiences, what I've learned, and also hope to get some feedback from you guys on what are some things you're finding successful in your own libraries and your own institutions. I'm going to go through all of these things and then finish up with how I came across Credo Instruct and how that has been helping me, and how I was able to get this purchased for us on a very, very limited budget. But first, I have a few polls just to kind of see what you guys are dealing with out there. That I know of is I'm one of the first outreach coordinators for our library with that specific title. So I'm just wondering, do you have a person in your library that's tasked with that? I don't know if I'm supposed to see the answers to the polls. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, sorry. I felt like a weird, awkward silence for a second.
That's okay.
Got it. Okay, so it's kind of even there. The first time I worked here at the library as a staff, there wasn't really a head coordinator for marketing, and they had several, library committees that were maybe in charge of events and displays, and it was a mixture of librarians and staff, but there wasn't really someone to kind of take control of that, and it looks like that may be the case. Next question I'm just curious about. We do not have a 4-credit library course here at Nicholls, and so I'm just wondering how many of you have this to where your librarians are teaching an actual course. Mostly no. Yeah, as I've been researching and trying to look for things, I'm finding that too, that we're needing to do library instruction, and there's this need for information literacy and library skills. However, there's not an actual 4-credit course, and it is difficult getting students to do something if they're not forced to do it, is definitely what I've been figuring out. So, first thing that's up is the awareness of our library service and our resources. And when I first got this position, I just asked myself, what can I do to help with the awareness? My fellow faculty in the Advising Center teaching our Freshman Studies course, many of them did not know of all the resources of our library, and it pretty much was, let's tell the students the library's there and to use it, but we didn't bring our students to the library, we didn't tour the library, we didn't really give specifics, it just was not built into our curriculum. And so I wanted new ways to just be out there showing what do we have, what can we do. Some things that I started was I sign up for information tables for the library at all of our freshman orientations. There's this section of orientation where departments and organizations could set up information tables, so I did that. I also started a monthly information table in the union, in our student union area, which is a big common area on campus, a lot of traffic through the student union. And so I have an information table there. And I really do a lot of emailing and calls and talking to our faculty. And these are just some questions and statements that I have received. When I'm in the union for the information tables, students are shocked sometimes at some of the things that we have, like our 3D printer and test prep materials. Just in conversations with students, they may say they need something, and then I'm like, well, the library has that. Why don't you come by? And then they're shocked. So I'm like, oh goodness, what do we need to do about this? Even faculty seem to not fully grasp all that we can do for them. I had one of my faculty contact me for a tour, which I just thought was great. I really don't get a lot of requests for tours. And then he just told me, oh, how long do you think it will be? Because I'm going to go show them the online resources and the databases in the computer lab. And I said, well, I can do that for you. And he was like, oh, no, I don't want to bother you. I can do it. And I was like, no, this is my job. This is what I do. I would love to be in there and show your class all of the library's online resources. So a lot of our faculty, I get the feeling they feel like they're bothering me when they're asking me questions. And so I try to just keep reminding them and being in their face that this is what I do. This is what I can do for you. You're not putting me out or anything by asking me to help you out. And then usually they're very thankful, and I get lots of thanks and thanks and thanks, and I'm like, no, this is, you know, I do this. This is what I want to do. My first priority is for the students and the faculty. So what do our faculty need? One thing that I found that when I was on the opposite end as an instruction faculty was that time was precious. Being told what is in the curriculum, what course objectives you have to meet, what types of outcomes you need to produce for the students in order to get credit for the course, and finding time for extra things, even though it was important, was very difficult, which is what happened with our university studies class. The freshman seminar now has to focus on specific goals for our quality enhancement plan of the university. So the library got taken out of our university studies class, which is very unfortunate because the rest of the faculty in the university, and even some parents that I've spoken to, just assume that the students are getting into the library through their university studies class. And this just isn't the case currently. I started teaching the university studies class in fall 2016, and there were 2 library days given at that time. There was a day for sort of touring and just information about the library's resources, and then there was a day that focused on information literacy and, you know, really evaluating the sources and the research process. But by that next semester, our curriculum got changed a bit to where for a one hour, you know, 1 credit course, we had to do so much that some things had to get taken out, and the library, unfortunately, was one of them. I still found my own ways to fit the library in, of course, which is when the students were doing their career research, I brought them to the library and we did career research, and I showed them the library's resources. But that's because I knew what the library had. And so that's where I sort of still have that mentality of fitting in to get into the class. If I can save the faculty time and I can know which of my library resources goes best with which course, and even sometimes specific assignments, I will send them direct links, screenshots even, so they don't even have to click on the link and read through stuff, with examples of what I can do for them for their class, so that it doesn't seem like something extra, that they're not taking an extra library day. We're just fitting it in where we already have an assignment. And that's something I did when I was teaching university prep. And so I kind of pulled that over to what I'm doing now with the library, and reaching out to faculty, finding out about their assignments. Sometimes I even ask some, especially my English composition or writing composition classes, for examples of their writing assignments. And then I've even worked with a few faculty to fit in library days exactly at the point of need, to where they don't have to have their students looking for the sources outside of class. We're just going to come to the library and have class here, and we're going to find our sources. And so I've been doing that a lot. Anytime that I feel that I'm not hearing from some faculty, I try to do some follow-up, and I'm finding that that's really key, because I forget things a lot, and I think a lot of people have a lot of things on their plate just like me. And so when I remember, oh, hey, I haven't heard from that person in a while, then that's my cue to, oh, they probably forgot to. Maybe they didn't remember to get back with me. And so I always try to follow up with the faculty, find out when their department meetings are, start to learn the routines. And if they're already going to be having a department meeting, maybe I can just step in for a minute or two just to introduce myself. So these are things I've been trying to do to get to our faculty. And one portion that I have yet to really touch on, and this is a big goal of mine, is to get more involved with our Nicholls online program and to find a way for them to have their own library days. And so this leads me to the next poll question. What type of library services, if you do have any, do you have for online students and faculty? And some of you may be doing more than just one thing, and I hope that we can discuss that at the end, because the more the better. And so you may be doing all of these things, and that's something that I wish for our library as well. So yeah, most of us are going to have those LibGuides. That's great. And that's something that the previous librarians here did a great job with building the LibGuides here at Nicholls Library. We have a lot of them, and there's some great guides. And so I hope to keep up with those guides and continue them. We have some video tutorials also on searching our catalog. We're kind of struggling with finding the time to update those, and that's where time is also coming in for our librarians. I had this idea when I came over. Why isn't the library involved on our learning management system? So here at Nicholls, we have Moodle. Some of you may be having Blackboard or Canvas. I use Moodle so much with the University Studies class, and always telling students to check their Moodle. It's like that's what they keep hearing over and over and over, Moodle. And so I knew I needed to get where the students are. They're on Moodle, they have to go there anyway. So what can I do to get the library involved there? And so first thing is I, made some contact with our Moodle coordinator. And actually I was talking with her about something else, and then it came up that the university was about to redo our Moodle interface. They were, rebranding it. It was going to make it look different. And then I thought this is the perfect opportunity to ask, can we get a direct link to the library on there, or something to show and be easy for students to get to the library straight from Moodle. They don't even have to get out of it. And then they made that happen. And so one of the things is on their dashboard. The students now, and faculty, now have a direct link to our library's website right there on their Moodle dashboard. Before, it wasn't like that. There was not a direct link to the library in Moodle. Moodle is easy for faculty, most of them that are already using it. It's easy to access. You can get to it from the Nicholls app. Just everyone on campus already knows about it. And there's many ways to use it. So my next plan was to get a library class on Moodle. And that's what another of these images, you can see what my dashboard looks like on my Moodle with my different Moodle courses. So by having this there, it will be there for all students, all faculty. They can access it if they want it. Faculty can direct students to it. They can use it or not use it. It could, it has a grade book. I can use it in my instruction classes. And then most importantly, I can get with the Nicholls online faculty and have them use it in their courses. They can have their own library day all online with different assignments. And this is what I was doing when I found Credo Instruct. When I was trying to figure out what am I going to put in this library class, I really didn't know. I had this whole idea to make this online library class, but then I was stuck trying to build it and figure out what kind of content was in there, because it had to be different. I couldn't just put a bunch of links that's on our library website. Like, I didn't want just a bunch of links from our LibGuide, because the instructors can just put a link to our LibGuides in their Moodle themselves. I wanted something that was different, that would be more like a course with tutorials and videos. And so I was researching, and that's how I came across the product. At the time, it was called the InfoLit modules. It's now called Credo Instruct. And I came across this, and they had a little video on their website, and I was just sucked in. I was like, this is exactly what I had in mind, but everything's already made for me with tutorials, with interactive tutorials. They're not just read a assignment and then go watch a video and take a quiz. There's little assignments in their tutorials. It has videos and quizzes. There's tips for faculty. I was also looking at library instruction assessment, because that's something else that I'm being tasked with looking into, is to come up with assessment tools for our librarians. And this has that also. They're mapped to standards, and so it makes it really easy to show to faculty how important this is. And since it's things that are already created, it's as simple as embedding it into their Moodle, or if they want to just send their students to the library's LibGuides, I can put them on the library's LibGuides. If faculty are just wanting to show a quick video in their class, or even outside of class. Since teaching the freshman studies class, and I only met with the students 1 hour a week per class, the outside of class assignments became key. They had to be meaningful, and they had to be tied to a bigger assignment in order for the students to do it. And the online library class, I have hope that the faculty will see the online library class as a key outside of class assignment that can be meaningful and that they can tie to their current assignments. And this is my way to get the library to more classes, more students, even whether they're online or face-to-face, because there's only 4 librarians. There's a lot of students in classes at Nicholls. We can't get into every class. So when I'm not being asked to go into a class, maybe I can present the option for them to go complete a module from Credo Instruct from our library course on Moodle. I don't have it built yet, but that is coming soon. Since I came across this thing, and it's not free, I had to really show our library director that this was something worth investing in. And like most institutions, you know, we have budgets and we have situations, and I just made it my mission for the past year to get this product, because it was a time saver for me in creating this class. It's a time saver for faculty once they realize how easy it is. And it touches on all the important information literacy, student learning objectives that we want our students to accomplish. So I just wanted to share with you guys how, you know, I did all of these things in order to get some pretty high numbers. Credo was so generous with their trial and let me have a trial to really play with it for a full semester. I just can't thank them enough for that, because it really gave me all the evidence that I needed to show and prove that I would be using this product. During my trial, yes?
Hi, sorry about that. I just want to interrupt because one of our attendees has a question about the previous slide, and before we lose all the context, I just wanted to go back for a second.
Yes.
So one person asked, what are SLOs? Oh,
the student learning objectives. Sorry about that. That's me shorthanding it to save some wordiness on the slide.
Okay.
The student learning objectives. So if for your library instruction classes, or for any classes, you have to, you know, present objectives, or at least think about what are your students trying to get out of this class. And that's what the SLOs are.
Thank you. And then there's just one more question at this point.
Yes.
Another person was wondering, why are your objectives mapped to the ACE or all standards and not the framework?
It is, see, I knew I should have made more notes. They all are also mapped to the framework. So from Credo, you can get this whole Excel spreadsheet with a variety of types of standards. And there's the framework in there also. I didn't list all of the standards there, and I wish I would have put them in my notes as well. But see, this is something definitely to follow up on, because it's a big spreadsheet, and I'm sure Etta knows what I'm talking about. We, as of right now, we are trying to build this library instruction and assessment, and we haven't completely mapped out everything yet. I'm hoping to use what Credo already has mapped, and I've used the ACRL more because honestly, the other faculty that's not librarians that I've talked to, they're more familiar with the word standards, and the framework's not something that is easy to talk about with non-librarian faculty. I'm sure you guys can agree with that. But when I'm using those words like standards and student learning objectives, they seem to understand what I'm talking about more. But I wish maybe we can, I don't know if there's a way, I don't know, is the mapping thing like freely available on your website, or is that only something you get after you get the?
No, I can provide that to anyone here. I'm going to ask my colleague actually to add a link to the chat, because my tech is just not a little bit iffy here.
Okay.
But my coworker just said that she is right on it, so there will be a link in there in a second.
Because I think if you could see it, you would understand what I'm talking about better, where it says, you know, the different topics of what you're trying to cover, and off the top of my head, I cannot for the life of me think of one. And then it shows you what type of standard it meets. And when you're talking with the teaching faculty, I find that when you're using those words, and everyone always has accreditation on their mind and always has assessment on their mind, that bringing that up even first, like, oh, this is an easy way to assess for, and then you name a certain standard or a certain learning objective, they seem to like understand that and really want to hear more about that. But it's a big chart to several different standards. I'm starting to see the comments. Oh, no longer supports the standards. ACR framework 15. Oh, well. I still used it for the wording, though. If anyone's trying to create their own learning objectives for library instruction, that was something that I looked at to come up with some objectives to. And I actually am in the process of working with the other librarians to create learning objectives for our library. We don't have them really set yet. We don't have a standard for ourselves. And I mean, I'm going to be using the Credo ones to help me out with that too. Were there any other questions on that Credo stuff?
No, not at the moment. Thanks for answering those, Brandy.
Oh, yes. I might have rambled a bit, because glad someone asked about that, because it's really something to like look at and dive into. And I can be honest and tell you, I'm still researching and learning about library instruction assessment. That was one way that I found this Credo stuff, because that's what I was trying to look into. This is my numbers just from this year. March is when we were able to make, I know it seems kind of weird starting in March, but that's when we were able to obtain the Credo Instruct. And so that's what these numbers are for. I've only had it since March. But I already knew what I was going to do with it because of what I was doing in the trial. And I really use the trial as my own trial too, trial and error, is to see what could I do with it, what works. I was trying to get as much use out of the trial as possible so that I can show to my director. And I really was wanting to play around with it myself, honestly, to make sure that this was something that I would use, and it was something that I found meaningful of my time. And so I was trying to make sure I knew everything I can do with it and all of these different ways to use it. And so these are just some numbers I pulled from my insights, what's great about it is as you're using it, you can then go back on your admin side as an administrator and look at all the data that's there. I look at it for myself just to see what's being used, but I also follow up with an email to the instructor after I have a class. So when I'm asked to do a library class, I will follow up with the instructor with different things, maybe something that came out of the class, or if, just to follow up, thanking them for it and reminding them to, have the students make an appointment with me, different things like that. I send a follow-up email to the faculty. And so now this is another thing I add when I'm able to do one of the modules in my class. And so that's leading me to, how do I use this? What did I do to prove to my director that this is something we should purchase? And I was asked, would you want to spend money on print books or this? We got to look at our current collection and what our budget has, and kind of figure out where this money is going to come. We have to reevaluate our current sources. And after I had the trial, and I was even using it as a tool to reach out to the faculty. Like, even if I had nothing else to talk to the faculty about, I would use this, credo as sort of like an in with the faculty. Like, oh, hey, we have this product now, and this is something you may be interested in. It's just as a discussion starter. So what I have done currently and through the trial is I have some of the modules embedded into our LibGuides. I'm trying to work on creating an information literacy guide, and that's where the Credo Instruct modules will live. I've used them in my one-shots. So when time allows, if the instructor has, and this is maybe too much information, but so when I'm able to teach in a longer class, for example, our Tuesday and Thursday classes are 90 minutes versus a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class, which is only 55 minutes. So when the time allows and it fits in the instructor's goals for the class, so I always ask the instructor, what do you want the students to gain from this? Like, when they leave class, what do you hope that they know about the library? And so if something fits with some information from a Credo module, I'll fit that in. So for example, an English 102 class had the assignment to do an argument paper on something that was maybe controversial or was a current issue, with the country or globally or anything, but then they also had to offer a solution to that. And she said they could use any types of sources as long as it was credible. And so they'll especially need to know how to go find those news sources. And so I was like, okay. And I sent her the link to the Credo Instructs module on evaluating sources, and even a video and quiz about fake news. And I said, we have this, and I would love to do this with your class. And she said, yes, go for it. And so I showed it in class, and I got the students to do the quiz, and I ended up sending her the results of that just to show where her students are with their knowledge on evaluating news sources. So things like that, when it fits in, I'll use it. I've even had, for example, a marketing instructor called me, said, what do you guys have to help the students with APA citations? And so I, told them we had the APA citation manual, told them we had the LibGuide on it, and then I was like, hey, we got this new service here, and it has a tutorial and a video and a quiz. Here's the link for it. Why don't you take a look at it and see if this is something you would want to do with your class? And he said, yeah, this is something he wanted to do. So I know he's used it for the past 2 semesters because he first asked for it while I was in the trial, and then he used it again this semester. I've used it just with research consultations in my office, student comes in, and I've had some students that were just completely lost with how to narrow down a topic. And so I emailed them, you know, I talked with them about it in my office, but then in my email to them, I emailed them the link to narrowing a topic video, so they could watch it later and get some more help on that. Future uses, I kind of talked about the Moodle already. Instruct comes with LTIs, which are links that you need to be able to get the Credo Instruct modules inside of Moodle so that they can then be uploaded into Moodle. So I'm working on that. Definitely, I've already kind of mentioned this, getting with Nicholls online. And I want to go and speak about them in workshops. So the CAFE workshop is a workshop for our faculty. It's called the Center for Advancement of Faculty Engagement. And so this is something that happens several times a semester on various topics for faculty to sign up for. So I've signed up, and hopefully I get one, to do a workshop on this so that I can let more faculty know about it. And the LIT workshops, that's something I created and attempted last semester. So I'm trying to be kind of hip with it, I guess, by calling it LIT, but you know, literacy in information and technology. And these are workshops that I will have for the students here at the library or in a computer lab somewhere on campus. The students would come to, and we would work through a module together on different topics. I used it in last semester in the fall while I was doing it with a trial. My problems with those workshops was not Credo related. It was my first time doing it, and I did not have a lot of students show up. So I'm planning to first get with the faculty and get them on board and get some partnerships going so that they could then make the library workshops mandatory for their students, because that's what I'm finding, you know, the students won't do it if it's not mandatory for their class. Also offering up to the faculty, you know, an alternative to them canceling classes, not to feel bad contacting us last minute to have a library day. And if we're not available to do a library day, have your students complete a module or two outside of class, and you can still count that, you know, as class points or something. And then also, if we do get some last minute requests from faculty and we have the time, and, you know, some faculty say, I don't know, just show them the library, and they don't really have a specific goal, then that's when we can take a look at the topics on Credo Instruct and fit them into those library classes so that they're getting some information literacy. Because most of the requests I get, and I'm not sure about my fellow librarians, but I think it's the same, it's more demonstration of the library, like show them how to get to the databases, show them how to do searching. And so I fit in information literacy when I can. So like I didn't want to just show them how to get to Nexus Uni database to go look up some news, but I want them to do evaluating the sources and things like that. So I'm hoping to get campus-wide more outreach on use the library for information literacy, not just demonstrating how to find an article. And part of the whole campus, part of their goal is going to start focusing on information literacy. I'm on a committee for our general education program, and we are going to be rolling out a whole new general education program in a couple years. And I'm a team leader for a subcommittee on information and technology literacy, because we're going to be making that one of our core capabilities for our general education program. And so I really have big hopes and goals for using this product as a way for faculty to do information literacy in their classes, because it is going to become an even bigger part of campus-wide goals. A lot of things. I have so many notes, and I feel like I didn't even really look at them. I hope I didn't forget anything. I'm, really open to hearing ideas from others on how you do library instruction, any ways that you may try to do online instruction, even assessing instruction. These are all things that I've been interested in researching and looking into. But yeah, I think that's all I have. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. I know the chat's been going. I haven't really looked at it.
Yeah, this chat has been going. Thank you, Brandy. I think your comments and suggestions brought up a lot of ideas in the chat, which is great. Excuse me. So we did have one question here that I wanted to start with, and that is, how do you get faculty to share their syllabi and assignments? The attendee says that she's met with a lot of reluctance in that regard. Right.
You got to find your one sort of faculty champion, I think. And not all faculty share their assignments with me, but out of, let's just say, I don't even know a number, but let's just say I've asked about 10, and we all have subject liaisons, and so I do our English, more freshman level classes, English composition classes. I've had maybe 3 that actually sent me their assignment. Last semester, one of them actually came in my office and we had a meeting and we sat down and went over his calendar for his course and planned out sort of the workshop. He's unfortunately no longer at Nicholls, but I'm hoping to find another faculty member that will have the time to do that with me, because I do want to try the workshops again, even though it wasn't that successful the first time. But, lessons learned. I think it will grow as I get more and more faculty on board, but it was really just, I hope I'm not harassing them, but asking them, and if I see them at a meeting, we have to be on university committees. So if some faculty from my department area is there, I may sit next to them and chat and like, hey, yeah, what are you doing? Why don't you send me over that assignment? I could see what we could do for you. That sort of thing. And not everyone does, but for the few that do, I have a note to myself to remind me at the end of the semester to get with them and see what they think of their students' performance, to kind of compare to maybe students who did not come to the library or did not have a library class. I'm just going to be interested. And I'm still new at this, so I don't have a lot of data to back up that library instruction has been helpful, but I'm hoping to get some more feedback from faculty.
Thank you. So another person asks, we have both an online library and a print collection. Do you have any tips for getting students to use these instead of just their textbooks and Google?
Yeah, instead of using Google. One thing I did is if you have time and you're in an instruction class, show them a Google search of a topic versus a library search of a topic, and all the work that will have to go into evaluating the Google resources versus the work that goes into the library sources that come up. I'm not really up at our Access Services desk, which is our main desk, so I don't even really know the numbers of students using our print collection. But I know they do. I see them walking around using it. That's still something to Google. And we have some textbooks here on reserve for students. That's actually something we're trying to do, is to get students to come into the library to do study sessions and use some of the textbooks we have here, because a lot of students don't buy their textbooks because they're too expensive. So there's a big initiative campus-wide and statewide even in Louisiana to make learning more affordable, and a lot of libraries are trying to get e-textbooks or print textbooks on reserve for students to get them here studying and to save them some money. But I think once you're able to get through to a few, sometimes even word of mouth. I've had a few students come to me that said, I've helped a friend, and the friend said it was so much easier, so now they're here with me. What can I do to help them? It may just take time. Yeah, my tips is just whenever you can, show them examples of how using the library is a time saver.
Thanks, Brandy. So we have a couple of questions about Credo, and I'll address those in a second. But first, I want to just encourage everyone to enter their questions in the Q&A box so that we can put them to Brandy when she has a chance. So another question is, Brandy, do you use a standard form for faculty to complete when they're requesting instruction?
We do have a faculty request form. We've created a faculty portal on our homepage for them to go to. We send them the link to the form to request instruction. I don't know about the other librarians, but a lot of my faculty don't use it. They email me directly or call me. Yeah, we do have a form, though, that asks them to tell me about your assignment. There's a spot for them to upload their assignment or the syllabus. But honestly, it's there. A lot of my faculty have not used that. Like, I get a lot of email requests. And so I don't send them the form and say, oh, please fill this out. I just talk with them through email, or I try to call them.
Well, whatever works, I suppose, as long as
right, whatever. I just think whatever's going to make it easiest on them. Because I feel like once you got them, once they're in, they're in. Because from February last year to now, like, my instruction has grown a lot, and I have mostly like repeat instructors, like faculty that I've been to once, and now they're asking me back for more than just one class.
Well, that's great, and hopefully once you get them on board, they will bring in, you know, their colleagues along the way. So other faculty, I suppose, are your best ambassadors. Once they've been in once, they'll drag the others in. We hope.
Yes, that's what we hope.
So again, folks out there, please do enter your questions in the Q&A box, and let me just, in the meantime, answer those questions people had about Credo Instruct. So someone asked how the material is different from when it was called InfoLit modules. Is it the same? Is there more? Is it updated? It is this. You asked if it is the same type of thing, and it is. It is videos, tutorials, and assessments about information literacy. And there's also a critical thinking portion that folks can subscribe to as well. So it's the same type of thing, but now we do have added material. Like recently, we added a video that I think Brandy mentioned about fake news or disinformation, and another one comes to mind that's about the latest version of MLA. So we do add new material when necessary, and we definitely let our customers know when that's available for their use. And we also update videos and the other materials along the way too. When something becomes out of date, we get on that regularly and release it to you. And we try to do that at times when, like in the summer, when students are not there or fewer students are there, so it won't interrupt your regular IL program. And now I'm reading while I'm talking. Oh, I see. So one of the librarians here is mentioning that she has modified Credo Instruct, and that is a possibility. We have a studio function, it's called, where you can get in there and change the material. And Ms. Cunningham, this librarian here, is saying that she has directed students in there to particular databases that her library has. And I think that's a great idea, because this, Instruct is made for all libraries. It's not directed towards Nicholls State or any, particular place. So it is helpful to get in there and sort of personalize it to your own resources and your own students, because you know them best.
Oh, sorry, I'm about to interject real quick. It's just funny you brought that up because we just had our this is Brandy again talking. I don't know if y'all can tell who's talking. We just had our librarian meeting this morning, actually, and I was talking about the Moodle, library Moodle page that I want to make, and was explaining, to everyone how it's not just going to be all Credo Instruct stuff, that I want to have that there, but that's like general information. So I'm planning to couple that with video tutorials on our specific databases. So like our nursing liaison is going to make a video on searching a nursing topic on a nursing database, and then we'll put that up in Moodle. What's great is you can get it into Moodle and then you can customize it or into your learning management system and customize it to fit your library.
Yep, that's a great idea. And I should mention at this point that in the fall, we will have a health information science module available that people can subscribe to as well, since you just mentioned nursing. So Brandy, another question came in. Do you utilize the pre and post-test assessments when introducing Credo to instructors?
I use the pre and post tests in, I'm trying to think, in like one class. Like I've told them about it. So far, just because of the timing of the class and everything, I've been using like specific topic modules instead of the whole pre and post test. They're longer. So I have I've told the faculty about that, like in my follow-up email. I give them the direct links. Anytime you can, instead of saying, go to our website and get it, you just give them the link there right in their email. But I haven't had any engagement, because I go back and check. I haven't had any engagement with it. But once I get the workshops going, definitely the first one is going to be a pre-test, and I'm hoping to get the library back into our university studies class, and the pre-test and post-test are something that we're going to do. But they are longer and a little more time consuming. So during instruction, I haven't had them, and so far I haven't had any usage of them outside of library instruction.
Thank you. And we have a couple of more minutes left if anybody wants to send in any questions. There is a question, I guess, for me here, which is Credo planning to design pre and post tests for each topic. We have many assessments within the modules that address the subtopics, but not a pre and post test for each one. It is something we will discuss in-house now that you've brought it up. But I can't make any promises at the moment, but you can use those mini assessments that are already there so that you can test how the students are doing on the topics within Instruct. Brandy, I had a question for you from when you were speaking earlier. You mentioned that, just to bring you back to half an hour ago, you mentioned that you will often send screenshots to faculty when you're trying to encourage them to come into the library. Screenshots of what?
Let's just say, or just to use our resources. So I've sent screenshots of what our faculty portal looks like. I've sent screenshots of our interlibrary loan login. And my hopes is I encourage them to share these with the students. I've done a search before on a topic, like, let me think of one I did, on digital marketing. And so you can send a link with all the search results. You can do that. However, I like visuals, so I just throw it out there. I sent the link. So I did a search on digital marketing. This was to send to a marketing faculty member. I sent the link because you can send a link from like your discovery system with the results, but I sent just a screenshot of it so that they can, when they open the email, they see right away the results with the titles and the subjects, just to give more visuals. And hopefully just to be another encouraging thing, like, hey, click this link here so that you can see more. I was just thinking of that as another time saver of like, oh, they can just look and see what's there. We call it saving clicks. You know, the least amount of clicks possible to get to what you're looking for is the best way to go.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. That's a great idea. So we are a tiny bit over the time, so I think we will have to wrap up, but I'm still seeing questions. So if, depending on the question, Brandy or I will get back to you afterwards. I hope that's okay, Brandy?
Yes, that's okay. I got some time.
Great. Thanks very much. And someone also asked, can they get the PowerPoint? So we will provide a recording of this presentation to all attendees afterwards, and the PowerPoint as well. And I just want to say thank you very much, Brandy. Your advice was really great, and I hope folks will have great success with implementing all those tips. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.